Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the GameDev.tv community podcast. My name is KB. I'm here with Bryant and Victor. We're going to be discussing art, and without further ado, here is episode 19. All right, continue your conversation.
Awesome, cool. I'll introduce myself. My name is Victor Ali. Um, I'm a painter, sculptor, graphic designer, printmaker, and photographer. And currently, I'm going to UNF right now, studying fine arts, um, majoring in painting, drawing, and printmaking. Um, my my art right now, I consider myself a freelance artist. So I just like to do um, random projects and do like gallery shows and exhibitions, murals, um, logo design. I do almost anything. Um,
Nice.
if yeah, if I don't know how to do something and I'm requested to do something that I don't know how to do, and I see that there's, promise in it, then I'd be most likely to take on that challenge. Um, so um, so my art kind of depicts a lot of portraiture and it's a lot of like cyberpunk influences and graphic design influences. I like having like mouse type, which is basically really tiny font to kind of look like coding. I like to have these effects uh, in my paintings, and I usually either put the drawing into like Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, and I like add these elements to it, or or I would screen print. I would screen print these elements onto the canvas or whatever surface I'm working on. Um, I'm starting to uh, include weird multimedia things into my paintings, like LED lights and
Wait,
neon
LED
lights and stuff like
lights?
that. Yeah, like LED lights,
So
and
how
I
does
want
that work?
to you just need a battery and
Oh,
LED
okay.
lights. Um, but I want to arrange them within the painting in a way where they accentuate like certain parts of it, or they sort of allude or like imply the idea of like digital versus like handmade and like handcrafted. So there's a lot of those ideas that ideas and concepts that like flow into my artwork, is like this contrast between like digitally made things by man and like organic things made just by mother nature. And so I like to have these graphic elements and like mouse type and like coding and like barcodes and QR codes like embedded into my artwork to sort of like represent that contrast. And yeah, I'm like super fascinated by that idea of like man-made things. I don't know, it's just like interesting to me. Um,
I love your art style. It looks
Thank
a
you.
lot like cyberpunk, and I love the cyberpunk
Yeah,
game.
I'm really into cyberpunk. Um, so I know KB, you wanted me to talk a little bit about like um, how I like want to like I guess incorporate like coding into my artwork. Um, and it's pretty like I don't know. It's an idea that I had where I wanted to uh, include like a barcode or like a QR code in my paintings, which I've done before, but it just linked over to my website. But I want to do something else where it's like a puzzle that you that you kind of have to unlock. in a way, you see the QR code on the painting and you're like, what's up with this? And you might scan it and it might lead over to like some weird website and it shows like a video and you have to like break down that video and figure out like the next step in that sequence. And then you might like type in some like website or something that you see in the video or that you like, decode in that video. And then that leads to like, I don't know, maybe another, maybe like a download or like, I'm still experimenting with it.
That
But I
sounds really
also,
cool. How did you get that idea?
um, I don't know, honestly. I think, like, have you ever been on Google Chrome and like it says like the page can't load?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then if you go on it, you like hit the space bar, and then like it'll it'll like actually turn into
Oh,
like this little game. You
oh,
saw that
like
before?
Snake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but instead it's like this dinosaur. Like you hit the space bar, then like this dinosaur comes out of nowhere, then you start like jumping over these cacti. So it's like this mini game, and I was like, that is cool as hell. I want to do that, and I don't know, maybe like the end result. I just wanted to like end on something like hilarious, like maybe something like that. So like I was thinking about learning how to create like simple games and like have that have that like mini game at the end of the puzzle as like a celebratory thing. Or maybe like in my actual paintings I'll have that game. Or maybe you have to
Actually,
like
that'd be kind of cool. You have your art, and then like there's a game, a small game behind it. You use the QR code to get to that game,
yeah,
and then
maybe
like
like yeah, maybe like the QR code scans on one painting and like leads to like this other um because I'm doing like these paintings slash like screens, like LED screens, like, and maybe like they like linked, maybe like all the paintings link to each other in a way.
That's what I was thinking.
It's like
Kind
holistic
of create a
web.
story.
Yeah, create a story. Yeah, exactly.
that'd be so cool. You
So,
trying to create the National Treasure movie or something?
There you
of the
go.
millennial age or something. Yeah. So, yeah, those are kind of like my plans right now. It's pretty crazy how, as an artist, you just like ebb and flow, and you're just like changing constantly. And some artists say the same because their market calls for it. But for me, I care about making um, like something that I just want to create things that I like, that I find intriguing, that I think other people would find it intriguing.
No, I
So
agree. I think that's what we
yeah,
all try to do. Make
yeah.
something somebody wants to try out, and yeah.
Yeah, instead of just trying to make money, it's not always about the money. It is most of the time, but that's
Not always,
Well,
though, right?
yeah. Well, usually it's the catch 22. It's like if you try to make something that's really good, then you'll get the money. But if you try to get something for the
yeah, the money
money, you'll make
follows.
something bad and no money. So it's
Yeah,
like EA, for instance, their games. They're going for the money, and then they don't make the money. I mean, they
yeah,
actually making pretty good money still, but you
I don't
know,
think EA is hurting.
yeah, it's kind of crazy, but well, hopefully they'll learn.
one
Hopefully they'll
day.
start. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty much a cash cow. But yeah, so how did you get from like just like a noob type of artist
Oh yeah,
to
yeah,
an expert? Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, when I think it all started when I was in like elementary school, and there's like we had this project we had to do. You remember when overhead projectors were a thing,
Hmm.
and yeah, they would have like the print out something. Um, they had us do this project where we had to draw a scene from some historic event, and I was supposed to draw like our group was supposed to draw like an Indian, like picking corn or something, and I drew this thing, and when I put it up, everyone was like shocked and everything. I was like, whoa, am I? Is it that good? you know? And so like, I guess it was brought to my attention that maybe I did have a gift, and so I was like, you know what? I love drawing, and I should make this a thing. And like back then, I would just like draw anime and like cars and houses and like people. That was
Mm-hmm.
like my thing. And then I sort of just like went from there. And from there, I went to La Villa School of the Arts, which is a middle school um, for the performing arts and visual arts. So there's like dancers, like drama students, visual artists, stuff like that, guitarists, and that's where I like learned like basic skills of like art creation. So that was the first time I've used like acrylic paint, and I started getting to portraiture more there because they started teaching us like traditional kind of art, like like these old oil paintings from like Baroque period. Um, and so I was like, yeah, this is cool. I love the dramatic lighting, also known as like chiaroscuro, where it's like half the face might be really dark because the light's coming from this direction. I was like really into like dramatic lighting and stuff, and I was just like always into portraiture, and so I was just like honing my skills and like drawing all the time, and always getting better. But I had like some sort of like chip on my shoulder, and um, it kind of I kind of thought of myself as like having this talent so that I didn't need to practice that much. And that's like where you go wrong as an artist, thinking that you don't need to practice. And so, went on to high school, which is I went to Douglas Anderson School of the Arts. Pretty much easy transfer from La Villa to to Douglas Anderson because it's like they got like connections and stuff. They're like, send me your best.
And you were like, I'm on
um, Basically, yeah. So like I get there and um I think in high school that's when I started like trying to find like, my style. And I was doing more like portraiture art, and then I got into sculpture and um woodwork and printmaking and a little bit of photography. And expanding my medium there, it allowed me to understand like the different types of contemporary art and all these different movements happening, like the Dada period, which kind of questioned, you know, what is art kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so went through all that and like went through FSCJ, which for Florida's, what is it? FSCJ, Florida State College at Jacksonville. Yeah, I
Mhm.
went there and I dove deeper into oil painting and portrait making. And until recently, seemed like my entire palette desaturated, and I started doing these like kind of grungy type portraits, and I started implementing like these cyberpunk influences and stuff like that. And it's just been a progression of, you know, what interested me, and it's gotten to the point where it's like, where am I? It's like, you know, what lies ahead? Like, how much am I gonna change? Because I used to
Mhm.
do like these like really realistic, colorful, oil paintings. Now I'm like doing these half digital, black and white, grungy charcoal paintings. And I'm like, what's going on?
When do you
But
decide to change? Do you just feel it, or you like pick
I
something up
just,
and you're like,
I just feel it. It's like kind of like I'm tired of this, and it could be one thing or another. Like what caused me to do like these desaturated things was when I went through an artist block and I put my paintbrush down and I just started sketching all the time. And I just started really being into these black and white sketches I was doing. And so I just started doing that, and I started like diving deeper into it. And I'm like, I'm really digging this black and white stuff. I think I'm gonna do some paintings now. And so I started doing these paintings, trying to figure out why I decided to implement um, like mouse type and like graphic bold shapes and stuff. Um, I really don't know why, but I can't remember what started it or what was like the first painting, but
It just hit you, man.
it just hit me, and then like all of a sudden I'm sitting there with like these like paintings of like these crazy like numbers and coding whatever. And I'm like, this is sick, I'm just gonna continue this. And so that that's where I am now. And I did like a show with a couple artists that kind of like represented that moment in time, you know. And it was really cool.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome.
Thanks.
yeah. So right
So
now,
if
actually,
someone had an interest in art, where would you recommend they kind of get started?
an interest in art in general.
In
Like,
general, I mean, you could go to the
mhm.
computer side of things, but I think it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I think that if someone wanted to get into art, I feel like they should try a variety of mediums. Like for me, I think that's where you like University of North Florida came in it came in at a good time because it allowed me to try out all these like a variety of things like printmaking and welding and woodwork and metalwork. Worked with plaster. Um, I worked with molds, ceramics. Ceramics is a new love. Uh, I started making pots and all this stuff, and it's even gotten like sculptural with like these ceramics. I'm like making these weird shapes. It's really cool. Um, so I think like taking a variety of different classes will allow you to experience all of them and see which ones that you like more. So I mean, I know FSCJ has classes or like whatever city that you're in. I feel like you should look through like a variety of classes. So maybe try like sculpture, try um, drawing classes, um, try printmaking classes, try ceramic classes, and I feel like you'll find something that actually clicks with you. You know, um,
Yeah, because there's so
yeah,
many different art fields, especially in game development. It's like concept artists, environment
yeah,
artists, character artists,
Yeah,
user interface, marketing. Like, there's so many things. So just dabble
yeah,
in like art sketches or 2D animation, 3D models, and you'll find out which one you like the most. That way you can specialize in that field.
yeah. But you never really know what's out there, and that's why the internet is good because you can like it's really easy access to find what's out there, and like once you find something, you can dive deeper into that. But yeah, variety. Check out everything. You never know what'll
that makes
resonate
sense.
with you. Yeah.
Nice.
Um, yeah.
To get to the level that you're at, did you draw maybe like 8 hours a day or fill out a sketchbook a month?
I mean, I wasn't really keeping track, but I made sure that I did draw every day. Um, you just hone your skill more. It's like every time you draw, it's like a reminder. You know, it's a reminder of how to make something,
Mhm.
and your neural pathways, understand that they understand that way of drawing, And so, the more you do it, the easier it will get to execute those drawings. But yeah, I did it every day. I mean, it's not like you did it every day, but
Yeah, most days.
most days I'd have my head down in my sketchbook, trying to get better at proportion and shading and all that stuff. And I feel like a lot of it was, I think like 40% was, no, yeah, 40% was self-taught, and then I think 60% was, I guess, taught by teachers, I guess, or maybe 50-50, because I spent a lot of time in school, like, in my life, so I feel like they did have a strong influence on, um, you know, me learning how to, do portraiture and stuff like that. But because really, when you get a mentor, aka teacher, they pretty much give you all the shortcuts, and you know they lubricate the process of learning how to draw. You can learn it yourself, but you know I feel like you'll run into a lot of weird snags. I think YouTube is a great teacher though. So
Do you have any good recommendations for online resources? I mean, YouTube's always there. Any other?
yeah, I actually I never bought an online course. Like, I never went on Udemy or like Skillshare or anything. Um, I've never done that before, so I wouldn't be able to give my opinion on like the quality of those courses.
Sure.
Um,
Would you say you learned more from schooling or from self-taught?
I would say it's around 50-50 because um, I was in school a lot, like, and all of them I was like learning art, so I feel like it's hard for me not to give them credit. you know, that 50% um, of my life was spent, in an art classroom, and my teachers were adamant about, helping their students, get better at drawing. So I think they deserve at most 50%, you know, of
Oh
my.
yeah, of course. I mean, if they were
Nice.
encouraging you, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
had some really good teachers who like helped me. Um, so yeah, kudos to them. You know,
Nice.
yeah. But
If we switch gears towards like digital content,
mhm.
what would you consider the tools of the trade for someone who wants to get into digital art?
Mhm. Um, so a lot of digital art, they like to use like the digital drawing pads and stuff, um, which I've bought one before on Amazon, and I did do a few drawings with it, and they're actually pretty fun. Um, so in your question,
Those,
what?
those Wacom pads. I have
Yeah, like the
one.
Yeah,
Waccoms or
yeah. You Wacom, that's
software packages, you GIMP, Photoshop. I mean, any
mhm.
preferences, experience with either?
Yeah.
Probably.
So I usually use Photoshop, um, and I never really got much into GIMP. I used it a few times, but I felt like I don't know. I felt like it didn't have like the smoothness and like the professionalism that Photoshop was able to give me.
Sure.
So
It's the
yeah,
poor
so I
man's
was
version.
I mean, it's free.
yeah,
Why not, right?
Well,
it's
exactly
free,
right.
and it's a good like start,
Yeah.
and So like yeah, Photoshop is good. Wacom, those are good digital drawing pads. I would say to learn it, I feel like it's um, there are classes online where you could learn how to do it because there is like um, you do have to have like a good hand for it, I'd say. Um, and it's a lot like painting, but it's like digital painting.
It's
And
weird at first. Like you need
yeah,
like a week or two to just constantly like draw and paint so you can get used to it.
yeah,
Because you're not painting right there in front of you. You're painting on the thing, and it's gonna be on the screen over here. So you're like,
yeah,
it's weird detachment. But yeah,
yeah. And some of
But
them
I always
have
kind of
like
felt like just because you're using Photoshop doesn't make you a better painter or drawer anyway. If I can't do it on paper, I probably can't do it in Photoshop either. You know?
yeah, that's pretty true. Um, yeah, it's like not. Sometimes it's not even the quality of your supplies. It's mostly, you know,
Your developed talent.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of the drawing pads have like sensitivity. So you have to really understand uh, like whether the pin that you're using has like a pressure
Yeah.
sensitivity and stuff like that. Um, I wish I used it more, and I'm probably gonna get back into it um, instead of using like traditional paint and stuff. I want to do like kind of flip flop between both digital painting and like like organic painting, I guess, if you will. Um,
have you messed around with animations?
I was meaning to. Did I? Yeah, I was.
It's on the to-do list. You're like, one of these days.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah, I was meaning to get into it like pretty soon. Um, 'Cause I like the idea of like stop motion and I wanted to do like some sort of like digital um like rendering of like moving pictures or something like that. So yeah, I haven't really like fully dove into it, but it's something that I'm definitely gonna get into like really soon. So yeah, I don't have like much insight about animation.
No, that's all
You
good.
played with Blender though. How was your experience with Blender?
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of YouTube. It was a lot of YouTube. Um,
What'd you
but I
make?
started I started getting the hang of it. I made the bottle and they're just like stationary objects. I made the bottle and a 3D like um, cardboard box, whatever, that you put put the bottle in. Um, yeah, I mean it was a journey because like I had to learn how to you know wrap the it's like I had to use two programs. One was to make the 3D form, and then another was to uh, like create the textures and stuff. Um, so
So
you
you
had
went to
to
Photoshop for the textures and then
no,
Blender
I
for the actual.
no, I used another 3D program for the textures because I had to create like a glossy look for the bottle cap. Um, and then I had to like lay it on there using like a
Okay.
template. Um, but it was definitely a journey. I had to I spent like long nights trying to figure her out.
Yeah, but
Um,
that's how you learn.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, it was fun though, and I'm definitely gonna be using it again. Um, yeah, I'm trying to remember the program that I used to create like the glossy texture the um, of the bottle. Um,
Was it like a free software online?
it was free. I think I used the free trial though. It was
Was it like a Maya or a ZBrush or?
I'm pretty sure it was called Keyshot, and it was specifically for rendering like realistic products and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I think I did like the free trial, so I used that time that it was free to like actually finish the project.
Yeah, it's smart. Save money.
Yeah, so
That's what Keyshot
um,
is, yeah.
um,
Material renderer and yeah, nice.
yeah,
What do you think was the number
Actually,
one obstacle in becoming an artist?
um, fear of um, showing the world what kind of art you're actually interested in,
How'd
and
you get to that?
yeah, and being able to execute that. Because I know that creating games, you have to. I mean, there's a lot of weird games out there, and I feel like game developers aren't afraid to, like show their vision, And so, but you said like the obstacle, like the biggest obstacle.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, having like learning the skill to actually execute that vision that you have. So I remember like seeing you making the bridge. Um, how hard was that?
No, that was hard. I
Yeah,
took just this cube and did everything with it to make a bridge. And
yeah,
then at the end, I see if I followed the course, I would have learned just a couple tools that would have made it so much easier. And I didn't. And then I just was
yeah.
like, it started loading slowly. The frame rate was horrible. I was like, all right, you
That's
know
the
what?
thing. Yeah,
It's done. It looks great. We're done.
yeah. That's the
gotta
thing.
follow the videos.
But no, I
It's
took a
like,
drawing course before, and I started like messing around with sketches. I don't know if you can see it. It's Uncle Iroh. No, it's
yeah,
blurry. Let me fix that.
yeah. Like, so you like ask yourself, should you like buy this course or should you just like do it on your own?
I think it's hard to do it on your own. I think that a lot of things have tips and tricks that people who use it every day can, especially with
Yeah,
software packages. But no different, like my daughter's into drawing, she's 6. And we get her watching the YouTube videos on how to draw people and, like you were saying, proportions and stuff. And
yeah,
there's just little things that she can do that make her drawing so much better
mhm,
that, she would never have thought of how to do it. She was drawing like the Eiffel Tower, dolphins, and, they just kind of show you how to break it down into little pieces.
yeah, in ways that you've never thought of doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'll be going in the squiggly line instead of going straight, you know, to
Exactly.
your goal.
Yeah.
To the graph,
Um,
right? It's like boom, 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 then back down to plateau, and then back up, and you
yeah,
master it. Yeah.
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 So, yeah, that brings me to like my YouTube channel that I'm starting, uh, which I'm editing the first video actually right now. It's about like my first video is how to get good at drawing as fast as possible. And it's basically me basically me going out like in public, and you pick a spot, you know, usually like in a library or like somewhere where people aren't moving so much, because I try to do it in a high traffic area and people aren't in positions for, you know, for long enough for you to get a gesture of, the figure. And I discovered that when you're drawing people or like just anything, um, you want to start off with like general shapes. So if someone's like standing and sort of like if someone's standing like like a ballerina or something. Like their legs are bent and then their hands are like this. Kind of looks like an 8, like the form of an 8. So if you see that, like you would form like these basic shapes, and then you would sort of get into it, and like block out certain parts of the figure, and like start adding details more and more. And I learned that when you do this every day, you'll become like way quicker at this, and you'll realize that the proportions of all these figures that you're making are becoming more and more accurate, and you'll feel like a boss.
Nice.
So you'll see me going out, and the perspective is the camera's shooting directly onto my paper. I think some of the videos, my camera's angled a little bit so that you could see the figure as well, but mostly on my paper, and you'll see me making these blocky shapes, and then I just go in and I start adding all these details. And I found that this is the quickest way, I'd say, to get really good at understanding the form, or like the proportions of a human body, and getting like these gestures really quickly. And I think this is good for like concept art too. And sometimes I feel like concept artists who do video games specifically, they usually have a hunch for proportion, or like anatomy. And don't get me wrong, they definitely practice. They definitely get better and better at executing these figures. But they definitely have an understanding of anatomy for sure. But I feel like books that have how to draw a figure kind of thing, I feel like those can work to a certain extent. But I don't feel like that's the end all be all kind of thing. I feel like that's a good start if you want to learn how a body looks. But I think that learning from real life is probably like best if you want to get good at it.